All right. Ready whenever you are. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Great Stories Presents Across the Multiverse. We are the judges at Great Stories. I'm Justin.
Ryan.
This is Ryan. That's Jeremy.
Jeremy.
So today we're going to be talking about Commander Legends. It's going to be the new draft set coming out on the 20th of November. I don't know when you guys are going to be watching this. So today we're going to talk about some spoilers, what the draft environment is going to look like, some of the information about it, some of our favorite cards, what we think is going to happen with it, and just kind of go from there. We're going to freeball a little bit. These are some of our first impressions for some of these cards. So if we don't know what the cards do exactly or how they might interact with different things, cut us a little bit of slack. This is some of our first time seeing them.
Fair note on that point too is that the actual rulings for these cards haven't been announced yet, which means that like with every new set there is a list of rules that comes out for every new card because they do change rules sometimes with different cards coming out. So some of the things that we might talk about might end up being changed in a rules change, but again, this is just basically a look at the cards at this point for that segment.
Yeah, and I do think that one of the cards that we have on our list to talk about is very much one of those cards that is going to need the rules released for it because it's going to be interesting interaction.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll throw to Jeremy. He's going to tell you a bit about the set.
Hi, everybody. So one of the things about me is I'm a die-hard limited player, so I got really excited for Commander Legends coming out, being a draftable Commander format. My second favorite format is Commander, so merging the two. I was kind of curious how Wizards of the Coast was going to do this. So that anyone who doesn't know the Commander format, it's a 100-card singleton where you have your general, your commander, establishing your color identity. For those who are limited players who particularly draft, no, you don't know what colors you're going to fall into when you're drafting. You could be a 5-color good stuff. You could potentially go the risky route of doing a monocolor. But it's very interesting to see how they were going to go about taking 3 15-pack boosters where you pick and draft throughout an entire cycle of 8 people and come together with a cohesive deck. So reading the original release notes on it, I'm really intrigued. Now the set's not out, so we haven't had a chance to try it, but what you have is instead of a 15-pack booster, you have 20-pack boosters. So you have 20 cards for 3 packs that you pick not 1, but 2 cards from it and then pass it around. On that, you have 2 designated slots as your commander or your legendary creature slot, so you always have an option to have a commander. So one of the ways that they built in flexibility to be able to draft and not get stuck with a plethora of cards that you can't play because of the wrong color identity is they introduced at the uncommon slot monocolored partners. For those that aren't familiar with the partner mechanic, we'll get into that a little bit more. But in essence, it allows you to have more than one commander, 2 commanders specifically. So if you have one commander of a single color, another commander of 2 colors, now you have a 3-color identity for your deck. Furthermore, if you've played any of the other formats like Standard or Modern, those are typically 60-card decks, where Draft is a 40-card deck. Now, a 100-card singleton deck for Commander, what they've done to merge the two is instead of 100 cards, you have 60, and instead of singleton, you can have multiples of the card types. So an example, a card like Opt, which since we haven't seen the full set yet, I'm not sure if it's in or not, single blue color for scry 1, draw 1. Typically in Commander, you can only have 1, but with this new draftable set, you can have multiples. Just like in the Spirit of Draft, where there's no limitation on the number of cards you can have. Furthermore, that 60-card deck is what they're looking at for the draftable Commander deck. And if you do the kind of balance for lands, like in the traditional draft, your target's usually 17, plus or minus a couple, depending on your mana curve. You're looking at around 24, so that's 36 out of 60 possible cards that need to be playable. So, initial read, it definitely looks doable. It looks like a lot of fun. I can't wait to actually crack it open with these guys and see where we go with that. But yeah, that's the draftable set. We'll see how it works out. It's a definite experiment for Wizards and them pushing the boundaries of the Magic ruling. So back to you, Justin.
For sure. And also throwing on to basically the other good thing that the set's doing is they're throwing back a bunch of legends that we either haven't seen in a while or haven't had a reprint. They've pulled it in from a lore perspective, things like Kark, and I think another card that we're going to be talking about, Tormod. So they've pulled these cards out and they've made new borders for them, and I believe they're just calling them the borderless art ones, correct? I don't remember the exact official name, but I think it's
extended art.
Extended art.
Yeah, and they are throwing those in the packs as well. I don't know if, I think that it's the collector's boosters that have one of each of, like, a random one of those in each pack of collector boosters, I believe. I don't know exactly how the anatomy lays out for the chances to get one in a normal pack. If you can, I believe you would be able to.
I think you can. I think it's probably going to end up being just like how they've been doing standard sets, where you're going to guaranteed get one at least in a collector booster, but you could potentially get one in a normal booster as well.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like a foil almost.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, they've opened it up to have a ton of new legendaries, as well as a ton of old legendaries into the set. So, as Jeremy was saying, with the way that the draft is going to go, we're going to see some cards get played that may be reprints that don't really see much Commander play because of this draft format. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see how those cards work with some of these old Commanders, and we might find some combos that no one ever thought of before, simply just because, they reprinted Prosh and what have you in the set, and now you've just realized now that it's a combo and it's good. Who knows? So that's another very interesting, fun little take on it.
Now, I do want to also, you brought up reprints. I do want to also just quickly touch on the fact that the last time we were here, I had said potentially the old partner Commander reprint, and I called it, and I'm very happy about it because this is the first
partner Planeswalkers.
Yeah, you also called the partner Planeswalkers. So
we called some things.
We actually weren't too far off, and
weren't.
I'm actually really happy about that. But I'm really excited to see these guys come back. What is it? The Thrasios is absurdly expensive because he's never been reprinted.
So you get Vial Smasher.
Vial Smasher is ridiculous.
The Web Spinner or something. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Any of them that are worth playing have
I think all of them are getting reprinted, every single one.
I don't think I have seen any that aren't. So
yeah,
I'm
seen
very
pretty
excited
much all
about it. What I am interested to see, though, is there were 2 of most of them, but I think 2 or 3 color combos only got 1 partner. So I'm interested to see if they'll actually round out that cycle to give the other 2 or 3 color combos that only got 1 partner commander a new one, so that you can actually have that flexibility that you didn't have before.
Of note, at time of shooting this, we haven't seen the entire set get spoiled. We've seen a lot of it get spoiled.
Probably about 60% of the way through. So we've got another 4 or 5 more days of spoilers at this point.
I think they said it's ending on the 5th, and we're recording this on the 1st. For reference.
Remember the 5th of November.
Yeah.
So, well, just to touch really quickly, because we are going to get into our favorite cards of the set, what we have seen so far, just to touch on partner itself. Justin actually has a couple cards that he's actually using in his commander deck, just to explain the difference between partner and then an old mechanic partner with, because they are slightly different from each other.
So partner was the original mechanic. It was, you can have 2 commanders, and as long as they both have partner, you can play them together, and they both contribute to your color identity for your deck. That ended up being really, really strong, and Wizards kind of shied away from it a little bit, but they didn't abandon it. They instead made partner with as a mechanic. So I have my personal commander deck with me, and it is Kraven Regna. So some differences between partner and partner with. So partner basically just says you can have 2 commanders as long as they both have partner. Partner with adds a little bit to that, in that when you play a card that has partner with, if you don't already have the other one in play, or even if you just want to because you want to shuffle your deck for whatever reason, you can actually tutor out go looking through your deck and find that other card and add it to your hand. So it adds a little bit of more consistency to it, especially in Commander, where sometimes your commanders might get shuffled into your deck if you want them to. And in this case, it might not be a bad thing, because rather than it going back to the command zone and having to pay 2 more to get it back out, you can just get it back to your hand and play it. So there's a few things like that. In this set, we haven't seen yet any specific 2 partners. We've seen some that are implied that they would be good together, or that they should be together in a lore perspective, but we haven't seen any that specifically have partner with whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think we will see partner with, simply
I don't think we
because
will either.
the flexibility of the draft, and they wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
the draft was part
Right.
of it.
The biggest thing with partner with is that was a battle bond thing, I
Right.
think, and they might want to just keep it.
They did bring it back for the
What?
the Ixalan commander decks.
Well, it's
Okay.
also in the most recent Commander 2020, but it wasn't the main commander. It's just one of the other
Yeah,
ones that
there
you
was,
can have the
there was
partner
the,
with.
the
Yep.
fetch dog, the whale
Yep.
shark,
Yep. Well, it started in battle bond,
or
right? And-
werewolf.
Yeah, it started in Battle Bond, the partner with stuff just for that little history. But either way, these cards are a little bit different. The partner cards that are getting printed in this set can be actually used with the old partners, and that's one of the reasons why I think they are reprinting them. One,
Yeah.
for the reason that there's not a lot of them because they were only printed in the one commander set.
Yeah,
And
especially
then-
some of them were very expensive to get a hold of.
And they just work together with the new stuff, so why not just print all of them at once, I guess, in the supplemental set.
Yeah.
But so that's just a little bit about partner. But before we actually get into the cards that we want to all talk about, we did want to make one honorable mention, and it's for Jeweled Lotus, because all of us kind of wanted to talk about it because everyone seems to have an opinion on this card. So I guess I'll pass it over to Justin to explain what the card does and give his opinion.
Yeah.
We'll get Jeremy's opinion and then mine.
So Jeweled Lotus is kind of Wizards' new way of working around the reserved list. So it's a throwback to Black Lotus. Mox Lotus is the uncard.
Yeah.
So it's a throwback to the Black Lotus, which is 0 mana, you get an artifact, you can tap it and sacrifice it to get 3 mana of any one color. So it's a super strong card. It's not the most expensive card in the game, but it's...
Black Lotus?
Yeah, there's only one card more expensive, and it's technically a misprint, so...
Is it the Serendipity free?
I don't know.
No, it's...
I don't
It's-
An
know.
alpha
Blue.
grade 9.5 Black Lotus went for $170,000. It's worth more than the actual Lotus automobile.
Cards are expensive, kids. Stay
Yeah.
in school.
Yeah, don't buy Black Lotus unless you're making an investment. But so it's a callback to that. It's 0 mana, just like the original. It can tap and sacrifice to add 3 mana of any one color, just like the original. The catch is the mana can only be spent on your commander.
And that's only to cast it, not the abilities on the commander as well.
And that's a
So-
great point. So
yeah, it's only to cast the commander. That's it.
so
Just that.
I personally, is it legendary also? I don't believe it
I
is.
don't think so.
I don't believe it is. Can
Jeremy,
someone
if you
pull
could
that
look
up real
that up
quick?
really quickly.
Pulling it up now.
I can actually go with my opinion if you can't find it.
I
It's
don't-
not.
It's
yeah,
not,
okay.
So your opinion on the card first.
I think it has its place. I don't think it's actually that amazing. I would play Soul Ring over this card every day.
Totally agree.
Soul Ring, for those who somehow don't know, it's a commander staple. It's one of anything for an artifact that you can tap to add 2 colorless mana. Now, it can be spent on anything. You can use it for anything. It is going to stick around longer. If you get a turn 1 Soul Ring, you might get 8, 10, 12, 20, however much mana, depending on what your deck is trying to do and how you can manipulate it. So I think Sol Ring is a better long-term card.
Sure.
If you're playing a deck like Perforos, and Perforos is your commander, and you just want to start dealing damage to everyone as soon as possible, I think then the Jeweled Lotus is great. I think it's a super good card because you could play a land, play the Lotus, play Perforos turn 1. That's a really strong turn 1 play. And it means every single creature that you have come into play after turn 1 is going to shoot everyone for 2 damage, and that's really, really strong. But outside of decks like that, like I wouldn't play it in my Kraven Regna deck. Sol Ring's just better. I wouldn't play it in a 3-color deck because adding 1 mana, like 1 color of mana, isn't going to be that helpful. And I wouldn't play it in a 4 or 5 color, for that matter, obviously, for the same reason. The restriction on it only being able to cast your commander is really, really rough. And if you draw it late game, it could just be a dead draw. It could be worse than drawing a land. And for anyone that's played Commander and been in a really tight spot and just needed that really great top deck and then pulls a land off the top, anyone can tell you.
You just die.
It's not a great spot to be in.
You're dead.
And for this card to be worse than drawing a land in those situations, I just can't see it being overly played. I think it will have its spot, but not as
people are
crazy as
saying,
everyone
yeah.
is making it out to be.
Yeah. No, I kind of concur with you, Jess, on that. I don't think it's going to be a format warping card. I think it's going to find a great home in like a mono blue Urza Lord High Artificer deck. For those that don't know that deck, he's a 4 CMC or converted mana cost, 2 blue. You play that out with an island, you get him out turn 1, and now every artifact that you have, as long as Urza is out, can tap for blue mana. So if you have
Now, doesn't he also come with a buddy?
He does come with a buddy. So when Urza Lord High Artificer enters the battlefield, you create a 0/0 colors construct artifact creature token with this creature gains +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So he does come out with a buddy, but if you don't have any artifacts, you just have Urza, then he becomes a 0/0 and no, because he
He's a
counts
1/1.
himself. Yep, so he's a 1/1. But if you do get your Jeweled Lotus back, then it basically becomes a Mox Sapphire. So, and there's multiple ways in blue to get him back.
Emery.
Emery, for example. So I think it'll be a good accent to like some of the competitive EDH decks built around Urza. I think in the monocolor decks they'll find a home. Me as a black player primarily, it's like a Dark Ritual for free. Dark Ritual, for those that don't know, it's 1 black mana, you get 3 black mana as a result. So I think it's a great card. I think it's a great throwback to the Black Lotus for the reserve list, as all the other Lotus cards that they brought out recently. I think it's a beautiful looking card.
It's gorgeous.
But I don't think it's going to be format warping. I think there's overhype, especially I think they're pricing on TCG Player over $200 for a single copy. Which
Now, is that normal or foil?
That's normal.
That is
That's the
normal.
normal
What was
one?
it, 300 or 400 for the extended art version?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I can't see it staying there for very long.
So, going on my opinion with
Yep.
this, let's start with the price. Because no, don't buy this card for $200. Don't buy this card for over like $20. This card is
Yeah.
not that good. I
Unless-
can't understand people saying that it's good. It's
Unless
just
you're
not.
playing some kind of crazy combo deck that is
So,
going
yeah.
to be like replaying your commander a million times and
no,
whatever.
It's just not that great. So, in my opinion, and why we did want to bring this up, because we all kind of have the same similar thing, this card is for competitive EDH. That's what it's for, because of how it just pulls out your commander. And most casual commander games, sure, you'll rely on your commander for some of them, but I've classically played commander decks that I don't even care about the commander I have, or I'll just swap it out all the time. Sometimes we're not even casting our commanders just to win, and it doesn't really matter. Throwing in another card that does basically nothing for you in late game draws, or mid game draws for that matter, it really isn't great. It's like you're getting a 0 mana artifact that really does nothing until your commander dies, and there could be ways for other players to lock your commander out of ever dying too. So now you just have a dead thing on the board. Like, it's just a dead draw. It's a useless artifact unless you can animate it or something, and who knows if you're playing that in your deck. There's decks that it belongs in. I believe that...
I think the Urza deck's a great
example.
example.
The Urza deck is a great example of that. There's a few artifact, sacrifice, and bring back type things that we've seen spoiled in the set that'll be good with. But it is
good because it's a free
not.
card draw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
in
not
certain
good in every
situations-
deck. It's not like Soul Ring.
Yeah.
Soul Ring is pretty much good in every deck. Like, put Soul Ring in every deck, maybe not, but like that's at least an argument. This just isn't. It's just not that good.
Soul Ring and Arcane Signet are two artifacts that, for the versatility, are a better investment, and those are only going for like what, $2 to $4
bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
they've
Soul Rings
reprinted
coming in
every time.
Soul Rings coming.
Soul Ring's getting
every-
reprinted in this set.
Is it
So,
really?
yeah.
All
Same
right.
with Arcane Signet.
Yeah.
Yep.
So get those instead. Don't waste your money on that. But
One thing I will say is the Urza, that Urza line, and obviously this is Magical Christmas Land. This is when
I love Magical
everything
Christmas
goes
Land. It's my
perfect and
favorite.
you have the best opening hand you could possibly have. You could go land, like island,
Jeweled Lotus.
tap the island for blue, sack the Jeweled Lotus for blue, play Urza. Urza comes in with his buddy. You tap the buddy for a blue because of Urza's ability, because it doesn't have Summoning Sickness, or the effect isn't affected by Summoning Sickness is more accurate. Get a blue mana, use that blue mana, play Soul Ring, tap the Soul Ring, play a Signet, or play a...
you can
you
have
can
a
go
lot of
off.
stuff
you can,
right away.
You can do a lot very, very quickly.
Turn 2, play Emery, get back your
Yeah.
Lotus,
Yeah,
and,
and then you're just going and...
Yeah, exactly.
Like that is a very strong turn one, but that's also, like I was saying, that's Magical Christmas Land.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen every time. You should not plan for it to happen. It should just be a, oh neat, I get to have like 12 mana on turn one.
Yeah.
Mathematically speaking, you have your one commander, your 99 singleton deck, getting those key cards on your opening hand.
It's probably not going to happen.
Now,
like, not all
here's
the time.
an
Yeah.
interesting point I want to bring up, because we do have monocolored partners. Would you play this in a deck that both partners are the same color?
It really, really depends on what the deck's trying to do
Yeah.
for me, because if it's like an Artifacts Matters deck, sure. If it's not, then I'm not playing it. Like, it's probably just not worth it, because late in the game, if you can't do anything with the card and you've already cast both your commanders, or it's just not worth it. It's
All right.
not worth
No.
it to play.
I agree. Depends on what your deck's trying to do. If it was like Urza or my artifact deck with Jorah, then yeah, but otherwise, no.
It's just not. It's
All right.
not there.
I
But
might put it in my mono black deck, but again, Dark Ritual's already there.
I
and
mean,
that's-
we can
Yeah.
always see what it does. I just don't think it's as great as everybody's saying it is. But without
so
going
let's-
on this for much longer, because
Let's start
you'll
with
notice,
you over here, Ryan.
I'm
let's,
gonna
let's
yeah.
hear your.
I'm going to start.
So we're gonna
with-
go through a few times.
Yeah,
just
we're
so
gonna
everyone
just
kind of gets a
snake it.
chance to talk about a card and we can discuss it a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with Ryan, and then
I'm-
we'll work our way back and forth.
Yeah, I'm just going to start with the land cycle here, and I'm just going to talk about all 5 of them, because they're basically just completing a cycle from the Battle Bond lands. So we all are going to have cards pulled up on our phone here. So it's Rejuvenating Springs, Spectator Seating, Training Center, Undergrowth Stadium, and Vault of Champions. So we got the Simic, Boros, Izzet, Golgari, and Orzhov lands from like Battle Bond, where when they enter the battlefield, they enter tapped unless you have 2 or more opponents, and then they tap for one of their respective colors, one of the 2. They're good lands. They can't be fetched. They just have like the land type. That's it. They don't have basic land types. They've been already proven to be good with all the ones like Luxury Suite.
Yep.
That I think that's like just one of the more popular ones, just because the art's really nice.
Mm.
But they're good cards in Commander. Like, you're more than likely going to have more than 2 opponents in a Commander game.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only formats this is going to get played in, because I don't know how many people are going to just 2-headed giant just for fun. But really, these lands are going to get played in Commander, and that's why they're getting printed in the set. I think that they're a good call for the set, and that's pretty much all I got to say about them.
And so I just want to ask real quick. In this, either you can answer. So they're not super expensive because they have that restriction.
Yeah.
Do you play that as a budget alternative to maybe a Shockland or something like that?
I play it with the Shockland and a commander deck.
All right.
Oh, I like jank decks, and I would honestly, I like basics because one, you can fetch them.
Yeah.
You can fetch them with pretty much any type of fetch land, whether it's a Evolving Wilds, the budget version, or Polluted Delta. And even my 5-color Slivers deck is all basic.
Sure.
So, yeah.
All right.
If I have them, I'll play them, but I'm not going to go search for them personally.
Not
All right.
crazy cards. So
So-
I think we're going to run through some of the stuff. We're actually nearing end of time already.
Yeah.
I mean, unless the booth tells us we can go over it a little bit
Yeah.
more. But, you know, we're just going to keep rolling along with Justin. He'll explain the card a little bit.
All right, so I'm going to talk
whatever
about
cards,
one of the things that Ryan called, which is partner planeswalkers. So specifically one of them, and excuse my pronunciation because it's a little bit of a tricky one, Tevesh Svet, Doom of Fools. So 4 of anything, 1 black for 4 loyalty planeswalker. He has a +2 that you create 2 0/1 black throw creature tokens. +1 that you may sacrifice another creature or planeswalker. If you do, draw 2 cards. Then if a commander was sacrificed, draw another card. And then he has a -10, and this is what's kind of controversial about him is his -10. Gain control of all commanders, and then you put all commanders from the command zone into play under your control. He can be your commander, and he has partner. So I personally think this is a really strong card. I think if you see someone playing this as their commander, probably expect some not so fun shenanigans to happen. Not so fun for you, maybe really fun for them. I think this card is probably going to deserve some of the hate that it's getting, but also maybe just be a lightning rod, so to speak. It just gets targeted with everything. Everyone's going to try to attack it and kill it. I think it's going to be an interesting card. I already have a idea around it that I might build depending on how spiteful I want to be. Because if you do it right, you can ultimate him the same turn he comes in.
Spark Harvest.
Nope.
No?
Well, you can do it with that, but also that's relying on having other planeswalkers.
Yep.
If you want to just rely on just him coming in, Doubling Season and Chainveil. Doubling Season will see him come in, put him up to 8 loyalty.
Chainveil lets you activate twice,
You
puts him
plus
up
2 him,
immediately, and then 10 him.
And then, so that puts him up to 10, and then you activate Chainveil, lets you activate him again, you immediately -10, which will grab him back from the command zone.
As far as we know for now.
As far as we know right now, this could get changed. But with current rules, this is how it would work. You would activate him, you'd activate the -10, the effect would go on the stack. State-based actions would send him to the graveyard. You'd be given the choice to leave him in the graveyard or put him into the command zone. If you put him into the command zone, then when the effect resolves, he'll already be back there, and it doesn't say put all opponents' commanders
It's just all.
into play under your control. It's just everything. So he'll pull himself back out with another 8 loyalty.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to see an increase of blue
I could see that.
so that people can counter it,
I could see that.
or increase of board wipes.
Probably just the increase of board wipes, likely.
Yeah.
But what's the card you want to talk about?
So I'm actually going to start with another cycle similar to what you did, Ryan. The court cycle. Just because when I started playing commanders after the conspiracy set, so I'm really excited about bringing back the monarch mechanic. So
That's a fun one.
at this point, only 4 of the cycles been revealed. You get the green, blue, black, and white. So I'll go over them real quick. So you got Court of Cunning, that's the blue one. Court of Bounty, that's the green one. You've got Court of Grace, that's the white one, and Court of Ambition, that's the black one. They all have, when that court enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. For those that aren't familiar with the monarch mechanic, it's at the end step you get to draw an extra card, and if someone does damage to you, they then become the monarch. So card draw, best part about playing Magic. So each one of these has their own ability. Court of Grace, the white one, you get a spirit token or a angel token if you're the monarch, and each one of those has a base effect with a stronger effect if you are the monarch. Court of Ambition, the one I'm really excited about, is the black one. You lose 3 life. If you're the monarch, your opponents lose 6 instead and discard 2 cards. Ironically, they're all 4 CMC except for the blue one, as if blue really needed more power behind it. That one's 3 CMC. So the blue one is a mill. So your opponents mill 2 cards. If you're the monarch, they mill 10 instead. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then the green one is you get to play a land from your hand. And if you're the monarch, you can play a creature or land from your hand to the battlefield. So
Now, when is the green ones trigger? Is that on end step, or is that...
these are all
Do they all
upkeep.
trigger?
All upkeep.
Okay.
All upkeep. The green one's
Yeah.
the best one.
Yeah, the green one's...
That's basically all we need to say. The
yeah,
green one's the best
The
one.
green one's the
like-
best one. The blue one, I think, despite being 3 instead of 4, you won't see it that much. I don't expect...
Mill's not a big strategy anymore
Yeah,
with
I
a bunch
don't
of stuff
expect that to see...
you can
Rogue
get
stick.
back.
Yes,
It's not bad. The green one's the best one. That's the
so
for
far,
sure.
so far, the green one's the best.
The green is the most
Yeah.
powerful, but I
Just
like Jank,
free Blightsteel
so,
Colossus.
Yeah.
Is it green creature or just creature?
It says put a creature or land from your hand
Oh
to
yeah,
the
it's the
battlefield.
best
Yeah,
one.
just
It's
free
the best
Blightsteel
one.
Colossus, free
It's the
Crater
best
Hoof
one.
Behemoth.
It's the
Crater
best
Hoof
one.
Behemoth would be amazing.
Green is big stompy, so yeah.
Yeah, it's the best one. Well, moving along real quick because I know that we are running out of time. The biggest card that I wanted to talk about was Opposition Agent because it's going to be good in Legacy. So Opposition Agent, 2 and a black for a creature, human rogue with flash. It's a 3/2. The text says you control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast them. So, in Commander, you know, someone goes to crack a fetch, or to search for something with Vampiric Tutor or something. Well, you flash in your Opposition Agent, and now you get to look through their entire deck, and whatever they would have found, basically, you get. Like, you don't make the choice.
I also do... No, you...
Do you make the
Yeah,
choice?
you control them while they're searching.
Oh, yeah, true. You control
So
them.
you get that
You
tutor
get the
instead.
choice to tutor something out of their deck and then take it from them.
I also do want to note, it says play, not cast.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can steal lands.
Yes, which is the thing with Legacy and why I think that this is great, because you're playing the Dark Depths player, they go to crop rotation, you can steal their Dark Depths or their Thespian Stage or their Wasteland, and then you can Wasteland their other thing. Like if they had Thespian Stage Dark Depths like up to go, but they were missing like the Thespian Stage and they had the Dark Depths, instead you play your Opposition Agent, you grab one of their Wastelands from the deck because they 100% play Wastelands in that deck. You then play your Wasteland on your turn and Wasteland their Dark Depths by combo. Now you're probably dead as the Dark Depths player. And that goes across a lot of strengths and plays in Legacy.
So 2 points on
that's
that.
going to be cool.
2 points on that. The first one on Legacy. Since it's 3 CMC and it's black, you only need 1 swamp available because then you can play Dark Ritual, flash that in,
Yeah.
and call it a day. For Commander at 3 CMC, now you're looking at a lot of ramp spells that are
You could play that
typically
turn
like-
too. You could go swamp, tap, soul ring,
True.
Yeah.
pass, and then have 4 mana open. So you could even do some other shenanigans.
You
in
can
there
play
too.
a turn 1.
But
I
it's-
mean,
it's
yeah,
like
I mean,
crafted
swamp, Dark
such a way
Ritual.
that,
yeah.
so when you play Commander turn 3, people are usually playing Cultivate or turn 2, and you can easily use that
Kodama's Reach.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ramp spells.
Burgeoning.
You can essentially steal a lot of
Yeah.
their ramp.
It's a good card. I'm playing it in Legacy Esper Vial because
Now-
Vial is a great card with this because you can just Vial it in, even though it has
Yeah.
flash, but
Now,
still.
here's something that I want to ask, because this is going to be a really interesting point. especially in Commander where there's multiple people,
Mm-hmm.
if you and another player have
an
that,
opposition agent.
and player A and player B have it, and player C goes to search,
Yep.
who gets control of that?
Yeah. So
That's
this
going
is
to
one
be
of
a
the
great
things
example of we need the official rules before
Yeah,
we know
because
how it's going to work.
As far as I know right now, the way that it would work in the current rule base is that whoever in turn of priority would have it, I would get to do the opposition agent. So if I had priority first and then you had an opposition agent and then the priority would pass to you technically, if I have it first, I would start searching with my opposition agent, but then yours would trigger off of mine searching through. So you would end up getting it in the end. But then if 3 people have it, it's a never-ending loop that would end the game because it can never be stopped.
So
because
what I'm hearing is don't play what's called fractured identity.
Yeah,
Exile
on
target
opposition
permanent,
agent. But
everyone else gets a token copy of it.
But again, unsure on how the rules for this are going to play out if multiple are on the field, just because we haven't seen it.
Yeah,
and I'm not
so-
1,000% sure if the priority thing does work that way.
So
but
what I'm more considering it as is similar to humility opalescence, how that all works together. It's a notoriously difficult judge thing. It relies a lot on timing and layers and all that stuff. I think it's going to be similar to that, where it's going to care on which one is
Yeah.
the most recent, not so much priority passing.
it could, but then you have to take
won't-
track of that, and it's going to be
we won't
annoying.
know until the official rules come out, is kind of the bottom line on
Yeah.
this. But it is something to keep in mind when you're thinking of building a deck with this, is there is a chance that someone else may get it. Actually, no, because if they search and then you search instead, then I would get to search for you.
That's what I'm-
instead of them searching.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is
and
that it goes
given-
into a loop.
Given the attention that the community is giving it, it'll definitely be highlighted in the release notes.
I-
Which come
Oh,
out a
it
couple days before the
100%
set
will
release
be.
Anyway.
I would be shocked if it wasn't. I also would be shocked if it goes super long without getting a ban.
So, in the sake of time,
Yeah,
Justin, you're up next
Yeah,
with your
So,
card.
So-
this is probably the last one we're going to be able to do, and we'll make it a quick one.
So,
set this.
So,
this is kind of a hilarious card, and I love everything about it. It is, and again, pronunciations are not my strong suit right now. Ragrak, son of Rahaga, I think.
Roga.
Roga?
Rograk, son of Roga.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's 0 mana for a 0/1 legendary creature, Cobalt Warrior. He's red, so they denote that he's red by a little circle next to the legendary tag. He has First Strike, Menace, and Trample, and Partner. I love this card. I can't wait to play it on turn 1 and just start throwing like Umezawa's Jete and Sword of Feast and Famine and War and Peace and Body and Mind and all these other equipments onto him.
Good Voltron.
I
commander.
think he's a hilarious Voltron commander, and because he's so cheap, he's going to die a lot. That's kind of, well, he has First Strike, so
Wow.
maybe not.
If you partner him with white,
Akiri Lineslinger.
no, well, yeah, you could do. So if you partner him with white, there's a white card. That name slips my mind. It's like,
Pure Steel Paladin?
I think it's 2 CMC. You get to search for or you get to play equipment card directly attached to that, and then you can just throw hammer on them and go hammer time.
Cigarda's 8.
Cigarda's Aid,
one
yes.
white.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could do that. Are there any 0 mana equipments?
Yes.
Yeah,
Bonesaw. Bonesaw.
Bonesaw.
Bonesaw.
We can totally throw Bonesaw on him turn 1.
Bonesaw them.
Planes, tap Sigarda's Aid, play Ragrax, play Bonesaw, immediately equip, go to town, have a great time.
I'm
Batters.
pretty sure you don't have to have the equipment out already for cigarette.
No, Sigarda's Aid will
No, it
only.
just immediately-
Sigarda's Aid gives it flash. It gives equipments and auras essentially Flash.
Yeah, it's an
and
enchantment.
and it'll give equipments that are cast this way, they get to automatically equip.
Yeah.
It doesn't reduce the cost of equipping
Okay.
them, it just puts it onto it.
Don't put Jeweled Lotus in your Cobalt deck.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea.
You don't need the casting cost reduced. He's already super cheap.
Yeah, well, with that, the booth's telling me that we're already over time.
All right. Wanted to talk about this Cobalt more though. Next time. So, did we ever decide if we were gonna come back and do kind of a final thoughts after the whole set is spoiled? Do you know?
I mean, we're getting a thumbs
Okay.
up in the booth.
All right.
Hi, booth.
Hi, booth.
The booth's over that way, guys.
So,
Way to break the fourth wall, guys.
Oh, this isn't the fourth
Hey.
wall. It's
I mean, well, it's one
technically
of the walls.
it is one of the 4 walls in here.
I mean, is
so-
this no? Because that's rounded.
It's my
so-
fourth wall. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go.
Okay, there you go.
fourth wall?
Perspective.
So we are going to be coming back. We're going to be doing a final thoughts on the set once we get all of the spoilers done and can actually
Probably
look at
some
them.
play time too with the stuff.
Yeah, hopefully a little bit of playtime. If not playtime, then at least someone somewhere probably would have had playtime, and we can see what we think of
Yeah, watching
that from
videos or
them, from
something.
watching videos. I know
Yep.
some channels get it early and
Yep.
get to play with it.
We'll get to see how many people don't play Jeweled Lotus.
I think it'll just be fun to talk about the decks we actually build with them.
Yeah,
once they
Yeah.
come
and
out.
I think it's going to be a really interesting thing. I think I'm personally really looking forward to it. I think the set as a whole is going to raise the power level of Commander.
No, I disagree with that. There's a lot of powerful commanders. I mean, just go CEH. First time getting to commander, someone beat me on turn 2, and I still have no idea how he did it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I'm
I
I
just
think it's
saying
just going to give
it's-
more toolbox options, that's all.
The reason
Yeah.
why I think it's going to raise the power level is more because there's a lot of really strong cards in the set, and the set's going to be widely available.
Yeah, there's no just stop on the print
I don't.
of it.
Yeah, I don't
no
think there's
cap on
any
the print.
cap. So it's going to be a widely available set that's going to have a lot of really strong cards in it that are designed for play in Commander, that ultimately I think are going to raise the bar. But obviously, if everyone's getting really cool stuff, then it's kind of the Incredibles line. If everyone's super, then no one's super.
I
Yeah.
think Standard's doing a pretty good job with the power creep. That's
Yeah.
probably more powerful than this. in
I don't
some
want to talk
cases.
about Oko. Okay, we're done.
Okay.
Why not? Free Oko.
No.
All right.
Do not
Unban
free
Oko.
All right.
Terrible
I think
idea.
with that, we're going to start wrapping it up.
Yep, that should be it. So,
Any last thoughts before we
you guys do a
sign
sign-off?
off?
Jeweled Lotus is bad. I've
guys
been
do a sign-off
Ryan.
All right.
Yeah.
We have been the judges at Great Stories. This has been Across the Multiverse. We thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.